All right. Hey, everybody. Day Trader Rockstar here, and a market update. New positions being taken. Exciting things going on with the market, especially with the Russian invasion. Oil prices through the roof. Who knows where we are? Where we're going to be 1 month from now. We really don't even know. So but the market here has given us some amazing opportunities, and I'm going to go over that today. Now, just for those out there who might not know who I am, I'm Day Trader Rockstar. I broadcast live market commentary, live trading. We have a tremendously, I would say, a great community of traders at DayTraderRadio.com. So feel free. We have a 10-day trial. Everyone could jump into our platform or use our chat rooms, everything. Use our bots, use the trading rooms, the indicators, everything you get to use for 10 days. No credit card required. So head over to DayTraderRadio.com and check it out if you'd like to see more of this. Now, this is the show. If you go to DayTraderRadio.com, you're going to be able to watch the show every day. This is what's broadcasting right now. We got the Rockbot here moving. We have the 5-minute Rockbot on the MES or the ES, and then I have Bitcoin here using the Rockbot. So that's just started up for the overnight session. And then if you scroll down here, there's some good videos and stuff and talks about the site a little bit more. But we're not going to talk about that now. We're going to get right into the markets and talk about my new positions today and what I think about these markets at this point, the craziness that's going on. So let's start off. So I'm going to update you on this with this video, some new positions, some new thoughts on the market. If you haven't, if you're seeing this for the first time, or just tuning in, maybe catching this, you probably know what's going on in the world with the big Ukrainian crisis, the Russian invasion, the oil bans, the sanctions, the markets, the oil, the gasoline prices, the inflation, you name it. You just name it, and it's happening. And the market's definitely feeling that. Look at this. Well, let's go out to the daily, and we really don't know what's going to happen. I actually want to say the obvious. I don't know what's going to happen from 1 month down the road. Are we going to be able to look back? You always hope, or the optimist in me is to say, no, this will work its way out. But there's a lot of people that say this won't work its way out, and this could escalate into something so serious. And I at that point, does it really matter? When if it goes to the worst case scenario, the stock markets even matter at that point. If you could get by it and stuff, but I'm sure it's going to spank a lot of people if that happens. And I guess if you're planning on that and you're looking for the worst case scenario and you're short, well, good luck. Enjoy all your profits in the nuclear wasteland. And again, I don't think that's going to happen. But Jesus, I mean, I didn't think this was going to get this weird, right? You don't think a lot of things are going to happen. You don't think there's going to be a virus sticking around for 3 years. So let's just take a look at the levels. We're way past our 10% correction. If we take a look at the highs up here, and this is I'm ballparking the figure here. I just want to grab basically the highs here, and we bring it down to today's, or actually previous lows here. That was about a 14% pullback, 14% correction. Where our standard is the 10% correction. 15% is right underneath that. If I zoom out on this chart again, you could actually see where I kind of measured out a possible 15% correction area. And it might be a little, it's about 15.5 right there. It comes into about that 40-41 zone. And we have a rising trend line there. And that rising trend line, is kind of it's a trend line which we broke out of. We broke out of and really established and got into this very bullish trend that 2021 was an extreme. The 2021 here, extremely bullish activity until we topped out and rolled over and came back down. So it makes a lot of sense to retest some levels that we broke out of. We've broken down to a couple, steep channels. We've broken down. We've gotten through the 200. This level, it's not the best trend line. I timed it with there was a couple little flushes through it, and these are kind of blow-offs. And then we come back and if we retest it again. That's really our line in the sand, and then retest it again and retest it again and retest. Now we had to blow off, retested it, we tested it here. And this really becomes an important line for me. A lot of people will look at this line and say, well, why'd you put that in here even though it blew through? Really, it's, sometimes you'll get a big move based on news and it'll overshoot trend lines. And then we'll come back underneath those trend lines. And what we'll see is those trend lines will, if they're tested again, or at least that's what that's really what you want to see happen. When you put in that, you get rid of the extension move, you put in where the average move is, and then you see that move be tested, then it really confirms that this was kind of a blow off here. And that happens a lot with the market. And then down the road, we look at this chart. You can see we hit it really good here, and we hit it perfectly here, and we hit it here, and we chopped around it. Every time we pulled back, we bounced off of it. So there is definitely an algorithm that is tracking this line. It is tracking like a heat-seeking missile, and it buys off of it, shorts under it, and we have it to come back the whole year. We're going to come back to. If this week, if we kind of just follow this trend and very nice and stay with it overblown, this is where we want to be here. And that brings us, just a matter of factly, it brings us right to a 15% area of correction. Now that's a nice number. It's not, it's not devastating, but it's a kind of a halfway whole number. It also brings it back to kind of like this support line over here. But the important thing is this underlying trend line, 40.41. So that's my level. That's the level I like. There could be other, the fib people are probably looking at some other levels, volume profile levels, etc. But I am a chartist. I'm a pattern person. Love these trend lines, especially when I know that there's algorithms out there that are hunting and seeking. They know the axis of these lines, the X and Y axis, and they'll every time the price comes down and does the calculation and it says, does this have a strength? Does it have a history? And once it gets down to this line, which has a history, it's going to pick it up and we'll probably get a really good level. Depending, we're not, jets are not flying and bombs are not flying. All bets are off if there is news. But if we did get down there in just maybe a capitulation move, that's where I'd be buying. A fast move down to 40.41, 40.40 area, that's where I'd be buying if we got down there. So 5-minute chart, we actually had a nice little bounce today, and this was caused by, I would say, the Ukraine kind of saying, hey, we're not going to push for the NATO membership anymore. We don't need to have that. And that got this market rallying. And then Putin came out and announced the ban on oil and raw natural materials out of Russia, oil products and stuff. And then after that, Putin came out and says, you know what? I'm cutting off everything to you guys. And the whole world until December 31st. And that's really when the market started sinking. And then we had some news of Poland sending these MiGs over to Germany to do a little shell game, and then Germany is going to get some other MiGs, and then the U.S. is going to have all these other MiGs that they're going to send to Ukraine. And I'm still, I'm not reading it. I didn't read the whole story. I don't know if there was some kind of if there's a deal, because, what's the reasoning, the way we're doing it that way? Why don't they just send the MiGs to the Ukraine? Or they don't want to send good MiGs to the Ukraine. They want better MiGs. They want to replace their MiGs. And they're going to get a good deal to replace their MiGs by the U.S. if they kind of cash in their old MiGs. And then the U.S. has these old MiGs and said, all right, we're going to give those old MiGs to the Ukraine. Is that how it's working? Honestly, I don't know what that whole thing was about. But it does sound a little crazy, all right? Whatever it is, those MiGs are probably going to end up in the Ukraine, and who knows what's going to come of that. So, I am wondering, and we discuss this every single day on the radio, what's going through this guy's head, Putin that is. What is, is it obvious that it's easy to see for us that he's turned off all the media, turned off all access to the outside, so they don't get the real information to their country. Yet there's a lot of Russians out there that believe they're doing the right thing. So there's, you just wonder what everyone knows, and yeah. All right, next part here, with the market getting down this level, and there's pretty decent fear, and we talk about fear, and we measure the fear by the volatility index, and there was a lot of fear during the sorry, this is not it. There's a lot of fear during COVID, so we have a little area we could relate that to the COVID fear in the beginning. You could see. Let's go out to the daily chart here. That was some severe fear when it got up to 80, 90, close to 90 on the VIX. All right. Since then, it came all the way back down. It was down to 14, 13 and stuff, and now it's starting to grind back up. And we're kind of at that level where, when we do have an issue, we do get up into that high 30, 40 area. Well, we haven't been really above that in a couple years. The way people are talking, this is another way of looking at it. The fear index is not that great. Is the market not believing worst case scenarios here? I mean, this is almost like, all right, just a couple wrong steps or a couple things going wrong, and you can have a major standoff between NATO and Russia, and who knows, with China. And it seems like the market might, not be showing that yet. We're not seeing that fear. So I'm watching the VIX right now. But today, I said, you know what? I've waited for a couple weeks, trying to let this kind of go through, not get stuck into anything, especially the options, which are very hard at this point. The premiums are real high, and then we have the, you're dealing with a downward market. Unless you're going short, anything along here, it's not advantageous to making money. You're going to have some issues, I think. But at one point, this will be an opportunity. So at this point in the game, getting close to that 15%, we have the news out that we're sanctioning the oil now, the imports in Russia. Russia's doing the same thing. What did that do? I mean, oil didn't really. We kind of expected maybe oil's already priced that stuff in because it didn't explode. It actually kind of got a little choppy and sold off a little from the highs after the announcement that Russia was also doing that. And market, it did sell off at the end of the day, but it didn't crater too much. But I am starting to look at some stocks. So the gist of this video is I did take some positions today. Again, on your dashboard, if you have a trader's dashboard at DayTrader, if you're a member of DayTrader Radio, look in your dashboard and you'll see all the entries and what time we do that real time and live. You get the alerts. So I'm going to bring that up on my screen. Well, actually, I'm going to bring it up over here so you can actually see it. So when you go to the member site here, you log in after you get your trial. Put your password and username in there, and the dashboard is going to come up. It shows you what I'm looking at. You see how fast that is? I better pause this, or else it's going to go into crazy mode. This red area right here is where that's the trade alerts. So today we sold our Clove. CLOV. So let's take a look at a couple things here. And Clove still looks pretty good. But, I was happy to get a profit on that. So we had a little pop today. Got out. I could have got out a little higher. I waited to about 3. Got out just around 3. But we got 50 cents on it. No, how much would I get on that? Yeah, 50 cents. I got 50 cents on it. I ended up picking up another share of Google today. 25.76, and I felt pretty good about it. Let's take a look at that. That's going forward. Remember, they're going to have that split June 14th, I believe, or was it July? July 14th. It's still a long ways away. Why did they put July 14th in there? Still a ways away, but a 20 to 1 split. 20 to 1. That's nice. You know, when you get an opportunity like that on a mega great growth company, you know, that, you know, probably is going to be around a long time, is going to continue to innovate, and kind of, you know, there's going to be those, I like to call them mega corporations. These are the companies that run the world. These were the companies that influence and control everything. The mega corporations. Google, Apple, up there, Microsoft, you know, just they're embedded in our society. There's no, you know, two ways about it. So Google down here going to offer that 20 to 1 split. July 14th. It's only March. We have April, May, June, July. Can it go down lower? Yeah. But when it comes back, it's probably going to get back up here very fast. Probably regains everything. I'm just adding to it down here. The 2,500 underneath it. I might even add another share. We'll see. But I like it. I like it a lot. It's kind of held up the triple bottom. We'll see if it holds. Bad news, nuclear war, anything like that. All bets are off. Of course, I'm not gonna fight that. And this is not quite oversold yet. We don't have the momentum on our side. This is a position trade, and it's you know. And I remember I had a friend run up to me, Johnny, I gotta get into the market. I gotta get into your. What's this crypto stuff? What is it? I want to get some Bitcoin. I won't mention her name, but that's what she sounds like. And I said, you know what? Buy a share of Google, you know, in the next couple of days. This is a couple of days I saw her on the weekend. I said, this week, buy a share of Google. Buy as much as Google as you can. So I want to do that. And she called me. She texted me, Johnny, I bought Google. And she got a good price on it, too. And I know she's going to do well, you know. And you get 20 shares for that 1 share. And, you know, it could change her life down the road. Who knows? All right, so like the Google here a lot. You know, take advantage of it as if it drifts a little bit lower. You don't have to rush in. I know it's expensive. I'm not dealing with the options on it. I just think it's too volatile and it could get destroyed on there. So a share here, a share there, all adds up. All right. Next, let's see what else we have here. Next trade on the trade alert box. Let's move this over so you can see it. There we go. Bought the Google. Bought 20 shares of Alibaba. Alibaba. We discussed this a lot with my guest on the show. I won't mention his name. China is right next to Russia, and China has a situation that could be similar to Russia if they decided to, do anything with Taiwan, and that's a big deal. And you just don't know. And just like the Russian stocks, if you they're halted and delisted and crushed, and the ruble, here's the RSX. You don't want to be in something like that. And I'm taking a chance on the BABA, but I'm not taking a big chance. I mean, it's at $97, $98 here, off of 300. Got to feel good about this entry down here, even though there is a little danger to it. I do feel that President Xi is a little bit more savvy than Putin at this point, and I don't think he's watching this play out and understanding what can happen to his economy or what can happen. Why is he going to stir things up? He doesn't need this right now. I don't think he's not going to mess with anything. He wants things to be good in his country. I don't think it's the right time for him. I don't know. It's probably going to hold back the stock. I mean, until something happens good. This is kind of a tough call. But I am liking the level here on Alibaba. Next stock here. I bought a SPY call for the 420s. I was up, where they were up on it. It expires on the 11th, I think Friday, right? Is that Friday? I believe it was. Yeah, Friday. Expires on Friday. Just bought one. Limped into AUPH. AUPH. This was a great stock that was brought to me by one of the members. I remember probably about 2 years ago, and I know exactly when it was. It was back here. It's 2019, and I was in Hawaii, and it got halted. And I had my share, had a lot of shares in it, and I always thanked Steve for bringing that to my attention. Gave him a membership and everything. And I remember getting a phone call. It got halted, and they came out with a lupus drug, and it got FDA approval, and it ran up. And I remember it was like whatever the time difference is from Hawaii to New York, and I was up at like 3 in the morning, trying to sell my options and everything. Anyway, it ended up being great. And since then, it's done a big nothing burger for the next year. And then it finally popped up here with all the rumors of this being acquired and stuff. And I've been out of it since then. I think I got out at 21. I got out up here right around November, December. Or maybe it was over here. Maybe it was here. Yeah, maybe it was about 21, so it must have been over here. $21. I didn't get 25 to 30 to close to $35 on it, but that was in pretty cheap too. So, and since then it's come all the way back down, and it's recently had earnings and it gapped down. And it's on the lower trend line. Not my favorite. Not my favorite. I had 100 shares of that today. Maybe there's going to eventually something will happen of it, but I'm not that comfortable with it. I'm not going to add to it. I'm just going to, hopefully I'm right on that. So Shopify, another one here. The situation with the gasoline prices. I mean, we debate this. I'm debating this, not debating it, but discussing it. And a lot of people think that we might get a stimulus to support energy prices. The energy prices going through the roof. How are people going to pay for this? How's the middle class going to pay for this? All of a sudden, we have this new thing that's costing us more than COVID did. So are we going to have to get some checks sent out to us to pay for our heating and our gas and our loaves of bread, whatever? I mean, it almost feels like there could be another something going on and saying, all right, don't travel. Here, we'll take care of you. Don't travel. Don't pay the money to pay for the gas. We'll get through this. Anyway, Shopify, that was a great pandemic stock. A lot of people make their business at home and stuff. It has given everything back. And I mean, they bring us back to pandemic level, pre-pandemic levels. It was starting to act pretty good anyway. Would bring us down another 200 points. So it's still pretty dangerous at this point. Pretty dangerous. So I ended up picking up, was it 10 shares on that? 10 shares at Shopify. Took another shot in the Moulin. Last week we were in it, and then this week I got back in it. I think earlier, or Friday I did, or, we took it off today. Got about 30 cents on it. MULN, just had to ring the shares, took that off. This morning, ARK, Kathy Wood's ARK. Felt it was going to get another test of that lower trend line. I might have jumped the gun a little, but again, small positions here, very small. Not putting myself in the face of danger here. Very, very, very small. I figure I get a lot of small shares, kind of spread it around. These are the stocks that I kind of like off these levels. Lower trend line test, and this will be the secondary test that we get down to it. Again, just 20 shares. And then it was yesterday I had the calls and I'd picked up a little Baba. So I'm building a little position in an Alibaba. think this is important to learn to support and resistance. Support and resistance is great, especially if it's tested. You know, that's when it really becomes an important level. You can have resistance. Oh, we tested it once, twice, but when we come back and test it, then you can see it how it really works. So here's a little area that we kind of broke out of, and then came back and tagged it really quickly, and then came down and chopped right around it. And probably some news here that kind of, well, I think there was news. Was it the low? That was the pandemic low, and it kind of chopped around, and then it was off to the races. Now we're all the way back down to that pandemic low. PayPal. There's a lot of other payment processors out there, and there's a lot of competition. And but technically, the 90, 94, 95, it's actually moving around. It's a little before 8 o'clock here. You know, I see it, but I think there's better trades out there. Airbnb. I'm like, all right, we're set on Airbnb. It's a good stock. What's the worst thing that can happen? Maybe an oil crisis, and everyone can't afford to go on vacation, and they can't travel and stuff. That's the worst case scenario for Airbnb. I can't believe it. Everything was good. You know, in it, looking great, comfortable into earnings, get a big pop in earnings. In World War III. What are you going to do? Still a great disruptor company. Came back down here, tested that 129 level, bounced aggressively off of it. Tomorrow will be a key day in this. We could put in a bottom here and get a follow-through day, get back above this trend line. This might actually look pretty good. Again, you can see we kind of tested the IPO low, and this was like our last test. This is a real good test of the low, and good earnings on this too. They had good earnings, good guidance. Everything was good. But, you know, a tough area. I mean, to give you an example, you name a travel stock that hasn't been crushed. And if you're looking at, you know, at any of the travel stocks, out of all of them, I like the Airbnb best. So if you do like travel stocks, consider that one. Now let's take a look at Expedia. Bam. God, hey, look at Delta Airlines. All these travel stocks just got whipped. UAL smoked. LUV might actually act a little bit better. Seems to be a little bit better. I don't know if they hedge their gas or something. They used to do something with the hedging of oil prices. Seems to be holding up a little bit better. Take a look at Carnival Cruise Line and Royal Caribbean. Well, Carnival is actually on an old trend line. This goes so far out I don't even see it. It goes all the way out here for some reason. I don't even know. I'm not going to worry about that one. I was going to say, wow, that's right on some trend line that goes out like 20 years. But it's not. It just happens to be on something that's left over. Yeah, I mean, Carnival, I'm not a big fan. I mean, I love cruising. Definitely love the cruise. If we got the right price and it was the right feel in the world, you know, kind of got some fast treatments for any type of viruses. We got a good, you know, we're not freaking out about sniffles anymore, and there's no oil issues going out, and we're living in a Goldilocks land. Yeah, I love cruise lines. Love them. People love to go out and spend money and go on these things. That would be great. But this, I don't know if this is the right time. You know, unless you feel like getting hit by a nuclear submarine or something. I'm joking on that. This is a nice trend line. And again, in both of these cases here, we talk about that gap down and retest and the retest of it. That's why we put that trend line in. Not really paying attention to that gap. We came back real close to it, closed right on it, got through it, and came back and tested it. This is a really good trend line. You find yourself back down at this level at $12. Hey, that's going to be a good level. Well, but what needs to go wrong for us to get down to that level? All right, what needs to go wrong? I want to put an alert in there. Set the alert. Trend line. Oh, trend K line. All right, that's good enough. Bring us down to that level. Yeah, I mean, it probably is. You got to buy it when things look the worst. I mean, that's, yeah, Night saying, hey, I love it down this level. He loves it at this level. And I guess, you know, you can't argue with that. You got to, I just don't know if the bullets will stop flying. I'm waiting for the bombs to start dropping and jumping in when there's blood in the streets. But you're probably right. I mean, maybe this is the worst it's going to get. The gamble of the day here is the short oil up here. Here's the ultra short crude oil, kind of the ultra short ETF. That means it moves up if oil moves down. Now, of course, this you can see what's going on. The problem with this thing is kind of a self degrading vehicle here that kind of loses its value over time, and eventually goes, unless you get, you know, some kind of real aggressive, you know, move. It's sometimes hard to follow this down. This thing probably is going to reverse split, and then you're going to just be, you know, it's just going to be screwy. But if there was anything that caused oil to drop hard, here's your opportunity to get that kind of spike. These spikes, you know, from the lows to the highs here, that's a 20%, 22% move over 5 days. The last time it moved up, it kind of broke higher. It was a 20% move. And from that point on to this point on, it was 20%. Well, this was a 35% move. So 20% move, 20% move, 35% move. We're oversold here. I mean, you need some kind of catalyst to give this move, but there's probably a 20% move maybe in this if you had a, and that would bring us, what would be a 20% move? Just to kind of give us a $6. That's, you know, it's a $5 stock, Johnny. Just think of 20% of 5. Well, the market here has continued to move. It's 8 o'clock. It's 10 minutes to 8, meaning the post market for trading stocks is almost closed. But the futures are up 650, which is nice. And things are grinding up a little off the lows, I mean, which is positive. Tomorrow we'll be live on the air, 8 o'clock, all the way till 4 o'clock. And it should be a wild one. I'm going to send this out. This is just a video to kind of update you on setups. Oh, actually, there was another couple setups I wanted to show you fast. I didn't take advantage of the Uber. I like the Uber here. It's on my trend line. Again, here's the original test of the trend line. There's the breakdown to the test and then the retest of it. Then we came back and we flushed through it here, Uber. COVID got Uber. And then came back. Well, look how it tested, and boom, boom, chop, came back, tested it again, came back, tested it again. That level is embedded. Look at this. Tested again. Big 2-point pop. Recent upgrade on this, too. Recent upgrade on this a couple days ago. But, you know, how is Uber going to be affected by gas prices? Is Uber going to have to increase their fees to compensate for the fuel? This is probably like one of the worst stocks to deal with when a fuel crisis. People driving the car, right? I mean, they're gonna chop into their bottom line. So I don't know. I mean, might have to rethink that one. BSX. Someone asked me today, do I still like it? Corey Sniper Man did. Sniper Sam. And yeah, I do like it, but I like it on the breakout, really. Now, today it got hammered. And I said, watch, I have an alert up here at the 45 level. 45 level is where I like it. I think we test that again, it's going to probably explode. Now it's a pullback. But now, you know what? That's a big pullback today. That got hammered and closed on the lows. I don't even know what the news was on that. And then the next thing we have up on the board here, what's on my list here, Uber, Airbnb, Google, IAC. Oh, the IAC here, Interactive Corp, which is off a lower trend line here. This lower trend line, again, trend line starts, kind of tested it, then came down, really held it, tested it, retested it. We're looking for a divergence here. Looking for that divergence. No real divergence, just a trend line test. 101. I don't have a position in it. Yeah, and that's the reason I got it, because the PE is very low on this one. I looked this one up the other day. I was just looking at a PA. I was doing a PE scan, and Interactive Corp was one of the ones that caught my eye. Also has a pretty decent support back down here at 92, which is trading at 101. All right, and then that's it. That's on for today's watch list. I'm glad I could give you that. Kind of looking forward to tomorrow. We'll see everyone in the markets. I'll continue on with the show. Let me get the video out to everyone and just give you my updates. All right, over and out. Day Trader Rockstar signing off on this video. See you in the markets in the morning.